and he hit an officer right in the chest.
And it culminates in him throwing his hoagie at him,
Right.
and it hits him square in the chest,
Right.
and then he books it and takes off running.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition. You can't tell by Mike's face, but welcome to a very special edition of the Blue Sedition podcast. It is episode number 50. I am your host, Nate Brady, alongside my co-host, Mike Smith.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 50.
We've got some stuff to share.
Got some stuff in the can. We're ready.
There's a lot to talk about today. We're not going to be able to get to all of it because we can only do a 1-hour show, not a 40-hour show. But we're gonna give you the highlights of the last week. We're gonna dump on some Schumer and Pelosi. So if you're into that kind of thing, I'm sorry, stick around. We're gonna do all the other dumping, of course, on Trump. He didn't die. If you're looking to us for the breaking news, Trump is not dead. Did Trump?
Nate, can you get me up to speed on this Trump is dead thing? I was dead for the weekend. So what happened?
There were rumors. So listen, Trump was notably absent. The guy likes to be in front of the camera. The guy likes to talk. Okay. Right. So when he's gone for a few days, the whole world thinks something, he's got to be dead. Right.
Was he posting to his Truth Social or anything like that?
Well, I think there were posts to his Truth Social, but that's not proof of life. Right.
Right. I did see somebody had mentioned that there was suspiciously few Truth Social posts, and they were,
not in his voice or whatever.
His language.
Yeah. So of course, and then I think they fed into it a little bit to own the libs. But anyway, he went to a golf outing because there's important golf things to do.
Important golf to be had, yeah.
Yeah, you want to make sure you deal with that before anything pressing in the country. And so, right. He seemed fine. I mean, people want to point out oh, look, there's something wrong with his head or his face or whatever. Guys, he's like 140 years old.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
And he's not dying anytime soon. So everybody needs to calm down. If I'm sorry to break the bad news.
You're moved, man.
But listen, guys, he's already a million, and these evil sons of bitches last way longer than we want them to. So stop.
They do, and we'll say as well. I think everybody's seen the picture now, but the picture of his hand where he's got the makeup covering up everything, and guys, he's 160. He's taking intravenous fluids probably, and he's got doctors. He's the president. He's gonna have doctors keeping him alive forever.
My grandfather's hand has looked like that since he was 60, and he's now 90 and change. So, guys, the solution is not going to be Trump's death. So we have to come up with something else here, and maybe some of you Democrats out there, some of you leaders out there could do something.
Okay, when you say Democrat leaders.
Yes.
Who do you mean?
Okay, so I guess, we have an order to things, but, who knows?
Throw the order out the window.
So we'll throw the order out the window. Guys like Chuck Schumer, for instance. He's a, what do you call it, leader in the Democratic Party?
Sure.
Okay.
We could say that. Why not?
Okay, so let's go to this race in Maine, right? Do you know about
Suzanne Collins?
Do you know about Graham Plattner? Not a Democrat. Not a Democrat. Very, very terrible nonetheless.
Yes, very good.
This gentleman Graham Plattner has kind of come out of the blue. I first even heard of him over the weekend when I saw a video of him.
Right, he's doing the cat thing where he's just grassroots and asking people to support him and just kind of being the voice of what people want to elect.
Now he's as you just saw, he's an Iraq veteran, an Afghanistan oyster farmer. He's coming out with a very kind of that Bernie Sanders populist message of what if we just took care of the people in the working class. Hear me out.
Yeah.
What if instead of a government by billionaires for billionaires, we maybe took care of the working poor in our country? I don't know. Does that sound like something y'all want to do? What do you?
Yeah.
So
he does have. I mean, he's running. Like I said, it's similar to Kat's campaign. He's doing a good job. He's hitting all the right, drum beats at the moment, and he's amassing some money. He's got a war chest on him at this point. And Susan Collins, I think, is vulnerable. She's repeatedly done the, well, I have to vote with my party this time, even though it's evil. And I don't expect them to actually do the thing that they're trying to do.
Right.
And then they do the thing.
They always do.
I'm shocked.
They always do the thing, and we know that. And
Collins is.
I mean, Plattner said it perfectly, in my opinion. They have the quote right here. He said, "We don't live in a system that is broken. We live in a system that is functioning exactly as it's intended." Stop believing the Susan Collins when she says, "Oh, I'm gonna vote for it this time," but guys, they're not gonna go that far. She knew what was going to happen. Just like Chuck Schumer and Cory Booker and Nancy Pelosi, they all know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so obviously, if Plattner is standing up alongside Bernie Sanders, they're on the Fight Oligarchy tour. He's saying all of these things for to fight for the working class. Obviously, other Democratic leaders like Chuck Schumer would be all for this, right? He seems to be drumming up more support than anybody against Susan Collins in recent memory. So Chuck Schumer would clearly be behind this, right? Meme, right? No.
Sorry, no, guys. He has a different idea for who would be a good person to put in that seat.
He wants to throw somebody else's hat in the ring. He's standing up and say, "I nominate for the Hunger Games Janet Mills." Is it Janet Mills? 77-year-old Janet Mills? Is that correct? That's who it is, right?
Janet Mills, 77-year-old Janet Mills.
Nothing fires up the bait, guys. I want to preface this, all right? I do believe that there are some people over the age of 70 that have what it takes to fight. I mean, look at Bernie Sanders is literally running the wrong way up escalators, to fight for you, okay? I mean, he's doing what it takes. But there are others, okay, who don't have what it takes to do what's necessary after we win the House, assuming we take back the House.
Assuming we're allowed to have an election.
We'll talk about that coming up shortly. Assuming that we have the ability to take back the House, it is going to take a lot of fight. And I don't know a lot of 80-year-olds that have what it takes to put in the amount of work that is necessary for what's coming, right?
Yeah, it's... okay, so taking a look at it from Chuck Schumer's perspective, he is... and has always been this old guard liberal, like, what you would call a classic liberal position of Susan Collins is vulnerable, her seat's vulnerable, and we have name recognition in that state with the governor's seat. And like, if the governor were Newsom and you're in your 40s or 50s, maybe I could at least get behind that argument there. But I mean, 77, my God. And every time they've done this, specifically like Schumer, but also like Jeffries and Pelosi, and they put somebody in a seat where it's a pivotal, important thing to do, to put a Dem in that seat. And then, they've got cancer. They're going to retire in a month.
Which just happened with AOC and...
Right, heading a committee chair, as I recall.
His name. Yeah.
Now, you're like, your strategy here, and you just have you've got the hacks. I can't think of Carville. Those
Dem strategists.
They get off on these strategies of, we need to put in somebody with experience and da 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 da.
Now,
and you're like,
now listen, for those of you if you don't know anything about Janet Mills, though, it may sound like we're completely dunking on her. I'll say this. I mean, Janet Mills. We saw the video of her a couple months ago. I can't tell whether it was a decade ago or a couple of months ago anymore because of the way that time works.
Right.
But she was pretty aggressive in her stance against Trump, especially
Yeah.
on transgender issues. She has expanded Medicaid, established paid family leave in her state. I mean, she's done some good things. I don't know if she would necessarily call herself a progressive, but she certainly fought harder than the traditional establishment Dem. So
But I would just want to say, but if you're getting the backing of Chuck Schumer for a seat, you're not progressive. You're going to be, a traditional Dem. You're going to vote with the Chuck party line, not the Dem party line or the
yeah,
progressive line.
so I'm not saying I'm on the fence here. Like I would rather see strong grassroots support behind Plattner. And I'd like,
Sure.
and because I think somebody who fights like that, so long as we're not dumping, 40 million into the other side with APAC and establishment Dems kind of undermining his campaign, as long
Right.
as we can all get behind him, I think that he has a great shot at dethroning Collins.
I, can I just say that I think that there's something to be said at looking at both Democrat and pseudo Democrat independent voters and saying there appears to be, I haven't done the analytics on it, but there appears to be like a stance of people for the last 10 years of being like, I'm sick of these politicians that just that they go from governor to House or Senate, and I'm sick of these career politicians. I want somebody in there. And for better or for worse, this is what won Trump the election both times, is that he claimed to be an outsider. He says, I'm a political nobody.
Right.
I'm just a
Right.
businessman, and I want to represent the American person. And I'm seeing a lot more, mobility from these people who like Kat or like the oyster farmer here, who are getting into races saying, I'm a guy who lives in this state, and here's what I think the problems are, and here's how I'm going to fix them. And that just carries a lot of people going, he's pointing out the problems we have. He definitely lives here. He's got solutions, and he's not a career politician. I like him, and he's generating money from it.
And I'll say, contrary to Schumer and others who are looking for those establishment career, what they're calling experienced Dems,
Right.
which we know
Right.
means something completely different. Plattner has pledged to not only emphasize a generational shift in Democratic leadership. He's pledged to vote against Chuck Schumer as Senate Majority Leader if he's elected. So
I'm sending him money.
like, no, seriously, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely has my support for those reasons. And of course, I mean, to me, anybody who is on the side of Bernie Sanders, who is fighting alongside of him, and who has his endorsement, I mean, that's enough said.
Yeah,
for me,
stamp of approval right there.
And if you start to see, like we're seeing in Mamdani's case, establishment Dems fighting that, guys, look deeper. Why the hell is that happening?
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty clear why, because establishment Dems like the status quo. Maybe it's shifting a little too far to the right for them, but boy, they sure like that sweet spot in the middle where they're making all the money.
Well, and since we were talking about him, you got to point out as well, all of the Dems who should be giving support to Mamdani, because it makes sense, right?
Right.
They've been just quiet about it. They're just not talking about Mamdani.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it's like you said, they would rather have Eric Adams win,
Right.
a Republican win, than have a progressive Democrat win New York City.
Right.
Because they can do business with Republicans, and the progressives are trying to fix things, and that's not the name of the game. It's like the quote you read here. It's functioning. The system is functioning exactly as it's intended. And if Mamdani's going to get in there, he's going to shake it up, and they can't have business, be thrown off.
Right.
it's amazing how scammy the political system is for the entrenched political agents.
So let's move on and talk about how terrible the political system is. For one, let's look into a little bit. People are definitely aware of this now. It's been probably over a month since this all started, but Texas Republicans.
We covered it.
We did cover it. So you better be caught up on your episodes. Texas Texas Republicans are looking to, and have now successfully since Abbott, I believe, has signed it into law yesterday.
Yep.
That they've redrawn the congressional maps because your vote doesn't matter. It's more what they want that matters, and what they want is 5 additional Republican seats in Congress, right?
Yep.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked deep into this to see just exactly whose district would be affected by this, whose current seats we would lose, etc.
Right.
But this is pretty disastrous. So one thing to note here, though, is that Gavin Newsom seems to be doing, I don't know, some people argue that this isn't the right thing, but at some point you have to fight fire with fire.
I have to say this, okay, and I've said it on the pod before. The Democratic Party has this problem where they must upturn their nose and say, I'm not getting into this fight, I'm not getting into the mud. I'm going to stay true to my politics, and I'm going to stay on the high road, and I'm not stooping to the Republican level, is always what mainstream Democrat positions have been.
Right.
And that has been very ineffective.
Needless to say. Yep.
Needless to say, but nothing gets done when you do that. And that's why you have like Obama and his Senate just tweeting about how they're not allowed to, nominate a Supreme Court replacement at the end of his term, because they just didn't want to overrule the parliamentarian again. They're like, we just don't want to do that. That would ruffle too many feathers. We can't be breaking like these rules that are just not real rules. And so they never do anything. And the Republicans happily break rules all the time to do stuff. So when I think it's time for a Democrat who is, Newsom is clearly positioning himself to run for president in 28. That's very clear to me now. But he's going to come out and he's like, if they're going to do that, if they're going to take away 5 seats in Texas, then we're going to add 5 seats in California. And I don't really care how you feel about it. But in California, obviously, we have to have a proposition vote that goes to the people, which
Proposition 50.
It should, Prop 50, which should pass with the same sort of.
I'll tell you what, dude, it's interesting. The flyers that I'm getting in the mail are so well done that I'm not sure what side I'm supposed to vote on.
You're pro 50.
Huh?
Really?
Yeah,
you're pro
dude.
50. Yeah.
It's really amazing. They're worded. Oh. They're worded from. It's disgusting what's happening. It's always been like this.
So there's a no on 50 campaign that I've seen a lot on YouTube when I'm watching YouTube and stuff. Those clips that come up, and I forget the name of the guy, but it's run by some
rich
billionaire.
Yeah.
And it is very clear. It's like Prop 50 is an attack on democracy.
Right.
The people wanted fair districting lines.
Right.
Vote no on 50. And you're just like, well, that makes it very clear what my position is.
Charles Munger. Is the guy who's behind it.
What I was going to say was, though, is he was also involved in campaigning for the recall of Gavin Newsom a few years ago.
Yeah.
There was this big, I don't know if people are familiar, but there was a big recall election, another proposition to recall Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
It was during COVID. Yeah. And Democrats in California just kind of laughed at it. We're like, this is a dumb prop. It's never going to pass. And he had like, Gavin Newsom had basically like almost 67% of the vote. Like it was a landslide as far as prop votes go. And so I think he has enough voice to reach Californians to make Prop 50 pass on the same lines? Because it's going to be a political divide, you'd have to imagine. And since California is roughly, 3/4 Democrat voter, you kind of figure if he can get loud enough and get people to go to vote, then probably passes.
So is the official Blue Sedition, are we officially now announcing we are yes on Proposition 50?
Yeah, if you need a cheat sheet for the coming special election, we're yes on 50.
Okay, so maybe we'll throw that up on the website soon. Sure. We needed an endorsement section because we have definitely a few candidates already that have popped up for the 2026 midterms that we are gung-ho about. Kat Abagazala is one of them. We just talked about Pratner. In fact, I only think I have a couple of people, but if you look at our list on Blue Sky called Midterm Candidates 2026, we have a couple of people that we're following there. Mike Sachs is another one. He's running for New York 17. So check that list out. I think there's only a couple people on there, but we're gonna grow it as
Josh Turek and Sarah McGee are the other two. They're for Iowa and Texas respectively. So I mean, we try and keep it up to date.
Yeah. And actually, I was looking for Pratner's Blue Sky. I'm not sure that he has one. So Pratner,
we'll get on the phone with him. We'll
reach out. So follow that for updates. But we'll have an official endorsement / election guide. I don't know when is the Proposition 50 vote though. That's going to be before.
I assume it'll be November this year.
Yeah,
because it'll be a special election. I mean, it's very soon if it is. Otherwise,
November
it'll be
4th.
Next year.
Yeah, it's
so it is. It's literally 2 months away from us.
Yeah. Mail-in voting.
I'm excited.
Mail-in
voting.
Mail-in voting. So completely illegal election then.
Don't care. eat my whole ass, Trump.
Whoa!
You know what? I want to speak to this. We did a live one. A live episode this was last year, I suppose.
2024 election, presidential election.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had some people in the chat who were asking us, they're not from California, they were asking us questions about mail-in voting.
Right.
And I think, the reason the Republicans dislike mail-in voting is because it makes voting easy. And if voting is easy, more people do it.
Easier and more accessible. Exactly.
And if more people do it, Republicans don't win as much. So I mean, it's very simple calculus.
If more voices are heard, it goes poorly for Republicans. But I will tell you, it's starting to go more poorly for establishment Dems too. It's almost like they're on the same side, right?
I'm fine with that. If people acknowledge that, then let's put the people who will actually work for Americans into those seats. I'm happy with that.
Right.
And the other thing about mail-in voting is like people complain about fraud all the time, but you have to be registered to vote. So what are you doing? So you remember the stories about like people's ballots being stolen from their mailboxes and stuff? How many do you think were reported in the 2024 election?
I can't wait. 5?
Yeah, it was like 100 or something across the entire country. And those votes were votes that were fraudulently cast. They were caught and not counted. So it's like it didn't even break anything. Right. That fraud is like if you're going to rob a bank, but then a cop pulls you over before you get there for a speeding ticket and you give up. Like it's not fraud.
It's not meant to be.
So I have my ballot because I'm registered. I fill it out at home. There are drop boxes everywhere. Mm-hmm. I go and drop it off, and then I get an email later in the day from the state, from .ca.gov, I think is what it's from.
Yep.
That says we have received your ballot and it has been counted. And I'm like,
that's amazing. It doesn't get better.
How could you not want this? This is great.
The only fraud from that perspective is people are trying to vandalize the drop boxes because they don't want your vote counted, especially in California, right?
I mean, us in New York are the loudest proponents of mail-in and drop-box voting. And you're right, there was like a firebombing at one of the drop-off locations in Northern California.
In California and there was one in Arizona, if I remember correctly.
But because they the staff so regularly check these boxes, it's like they burned 20 votes, and
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
and when you don't get that email, you're like, was my vote counted? You have to
yeah.
like go and fill out the paperwork to
And then you
file
can still go in and fill out a provisional.
right, a
Ballot,
provisional.
just in
I've done
case.
that before. Um, yeah, I remember when I was younger, I filled it out by mail, and this was before the drop boxes. I mailed it out, and I didn't get the thing for like a week, and I was like, I'm gonna go. So I just went down on election day, and I filled out a provisional and just put in my vote again.
So are you trying to say that we're going to make a second endorsement here? More voting is good.
More voting,
more voting,
more gooder.
more gooder. Okay, great. You guys heard it here first. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, let's move on. We have so much to talk about. I have a giant list in front of us. I see Mike is highlighting something for me, so let's click into this. GOP governors sending troops to DC. Oh boy, this is so ridiculous.
Did you hear about this, guys?
First of all, before we dive into this, you better be able to back this. You better be able to have a good argument against this, Mike, because Donald Trump announced yesterday crime in DC is down 100%.
Hey, you got rid of all the crime, huh?
I still think he doesn't know how percentages work.
He doesn't.
But 100%.
It's an evergreen tweet. Yeah, your post is an evergreen one.
So 100% crime is down. Let's talk about how we got here.
Okay. How did we get here?
So Donald Trump just woke up one day after his somewhat failed attempt in Los Angeles to turn the National Guard into his own private military to come and sweep out immigrants from Los Angeles. That didn't work out, so he said, you know what I can control? You know what I can do is I think I can do the same thing in DC and nobody's going to fight me on
it. And we said the reason why. He tried to do this in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, just like space-wise, if you've never been to LA, Los Angeles is a huge place, like geographically covering so many miles that it's basically impossible for him to do this. Los Angeles is just gigantic. And the other thing is he's being fought tooth and nail from every position. He's being sued left and right. And the normal police officers don't really want to work with the National Guard. Like, they're not friendly, apparently. Anyway, DC is a smaller thing. He's like, well, okay, let's rein it in and try and get something that's not as hard to manage and is a little closer to home.
Right. And so they got for the small area, comparatively speaking, the small area of DC, they have deployed 2,300 National Guard troops, not just from DC area, but from 7 other states. And then 1,871 federal law enforcement agents. So you have
1,800. So you're saying like about 4,000 in total.
4,000 troops and feds patrolling the streets of DC, and the videos are hilarious.
That we're paying.
Well,
amazing.
We're paying, but there's actually Trump is trying to not pay these people. So what happens is I don't know if you've heard about this. But the National Guard, they're paid after, I believe it's an active 30 days, right? So if you're active for more than 30 days, that's when you get cut a check, you get your benefits, etc. Trump is trying to make them inactive on like the 29th day or something like that, and then reactivate them as to not have to pay for this.
Man, if I was in the National Guard, I would have a class action. I'm sure Mark Elias has got a class action ready to go for this. He just needs them to sign on, because like, what the hell?
It's pretty insane. So anyway, there's this joint task force that is roaming the streets of DC, and I don't know, screaming at people to get back inside their house at 9 o'clock. I mean, what are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. There's no curfew enacted or anything like that, so I don't really like what. All I've seen them do is stand around
Right.
They're standing around and
or have videos taken of them with people ridiculing them.
Or have sandwiches thrown at them.
So, or have sandwiches thrown at them. That's a good transition, but I don't want to go there yet.
Okay,
That's a good transition. I want to talk about Sandwich Guy, but I want to talk about some of the things that the National Guard actually is doing there, which I think is great. They are picking up trash. They are raking leaves. They are laying mulch down.
Good.
So these are all things I think.
Not to be diminutive.
Okay.
But aren't those sorts of jobs the type that undocumented immigrants might have taken in the past?
Sure.
Is he fixing a shortage that he created with a very expensive alternative?
There certainly is a lack of landscapers, a shortage of those types of day laborers. Don't know where that could have come from.
That would be great. He's like has National Guard helping people like, build houses and stuff next. Man.
I mean, honestly, it's the kind of stuff that we would want the National Guard to do. Not on the premise though of coming in to like reduce crime and patrol the streets. Just like, hey, is the National Guard bored? Like let's have the government pay them to help build low-income housing. Go stand alongside Jimmy Carter. Well, you can't do that anymore. But go stand alongside Jimmy Carter and do the Habitat for Humanity stuff.
Yeah.
That's more better than confronting people who are walking their kids, in strollers at 8:00 at night.
I can't imagine that. Like obviously white guy, clearly my privilege to walk down the street and not be harassed by the police very often, but I can't imagine you're just like out there living your day-to-day life and then some goon in camo comes up to you and he's like, show me your papers.
Right.
Well, I would immediately tell him to go fuck himself.
Well, you can do that. But most people can't. So
yeah, I know, but it's just crazy to me. We live in crazy times, brother.
We live in crazy times. Let's go over to, I gotta find it. Sandwich Guy. I'm following. Sandwich Guy. I'm following your cursor here. I'm looking for Sandwich. I found him. Sandwich Guy. So I love the headline of this. Mike, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about prosecutors failing to obtain. God damn it! I'm not logging in, New York Times, and I will never log in.
Never log in. Sorry, I couldn't find a better link than that. But basically what happened is, for people who aren't aware, not all heroes wear capes.
Right.
There's a man who...
Sean Charles Dunn, call him by his name.
Sean was coming home from the bar.
Yeah.
Bought himself a sandwich after a night of drinking. He's got a foot long hoagie.
That's an expensive sandwich.
And he sees some of these ICE goons. I don't remember if they were ICE or National Guard or whatever, but he sees them standing out there, and he decides to take it upon himself to have a word with them.
Throw a sandwich.
And describe how they're ruining the country.
Right. And he hit an officer right in the chest.
And it culminates in him throwing his hoagie at him.
Right.
And it hits him square in the chest.
Right.
And then he books it and takes off running.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, and I think we covered this. He went like the next day. He went down to the police to turn himself in because he saw that it was like viral and he was obviously going to get outed. So he went to turn himself in, and the police sent him home. They were like, no, go away. Right. Then they had the Navy SEALs show up at his door and arrest him so that Fox News could do this, like, we got one of the bad guys, camera jobs.
Right.
And they were trying to indict him on felony assaulting an officer. And okay, so my favorite though is they failed to secure the indictment from a grand jury.
A grand jury declined. Yeah,
which is basically impossible. If you go in front of, there's an old saying, a grand jury will indict a ham sandwich if given the chance. Like they'll always do it. So you have to have like a pretty amazing case to have it not be an indictment. So anyway, he's avoiding felony charges for now.
So the felony assault charge was dropped. However, he was then subsequently charged with misdemeanor assault instead, because they still got to get their guy. Okay. Yeah. But dude has become a folk hero now. I mean, there's ton of, when something like this happens, I think the Etsy shops go crazy. So there's sandwich
Right.
themed prints and all that stuff that are all over the place now. And throwing a sandwich at law enforcement is
Yeah. I mean, we're still following it, obviously, but there were like Mangione candles for a long time. That like in
there
like
still are
Catholic garb style. There's got to be a sandwich guy doing the same thing,
right.
I assume.
Yeah, a Sean Charles Dunn.
So it got me thinking.
Should we throw more sandwiches at police?
There was a time where it was socially acceptable to repudiate people in public by throwing like rotten fruit at them or like cabbages.
Yeah.
Like no one's getting hurt there. I threw a tomato at your suit. You get a little tomato stain there.
Yeah.
Like I think we should go back to that. I think that if people, words aren't working. Don't hurt people, but like annoy them by hitting them with sandwiches or fruits.
Sticks and stones may break their bones, but sandwiches will make us laugh. And
it's true.
We need that right now.
I think we have the type.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
To lead up to our next story.
I'm ready.
Pam Bondi.
Don't like it.
First said there were Epstein files on her desk, and then she said, just kidding, there were no Epstein files on her desk.
She showed us binders full of
were binders. There were people that got influencers to go there. And they were like, they gave them the Epstein files. And then those influencers got home and they were like, this isn't the fucking Epstein files. This is stuff that was already released. And then saw somebody.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I saw somebody who clipped that like from a TikTok or something where they have one of those influencers like holding the binder and he's making this gesture like, wow, this is heavy. And
yeah.
You're like, what happened to that? Is there nothing in there?
No, what was in there? What was in there, just to be clear, for people that don't know what was actually in those binders, it was stuff that was already public that they then added more black ink to make them think that they got new documents. But those very dumb influencers figured out like, wait a minute, this is just stuff that's already been released. But okay, so Pam Bondi, let's recap. Pam Bondi says no. There are Epstein files, then there are no Epstein files. Then when asked about the tape, now we all know about the tape of the outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell. There was a missing minute in that tape. And so they released it, they released the video, and it was very clear. We covered it on the show. It was very clear that it was actually edited. There was some work done in like Adobe Premiere or something like that, where it looked like stuff was edited and stitched together. Then Pam Bondi came out and said, well, actually, there's a missing minute or a couple minutes in here because this is what happens every night. These old like VCR recording systems, they have to shut down,
DVR,
swap out DVR, whatever it is. They have to shut down, swap out a new thing, do whatever, and that's why there's a missing minute. Well, as it turns out, we found the missing minute. Turns out there wasn't a missing minute after all. So
who killed him?
So once again, we have been lied to, that there wasn't this nightly DVR reset. There wasn't a missing minute. There's a whole unedited raw video of the Epstein file, of the Epstein video. So do you know what was in the footage? Have you had a chance?
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy, that is correct. Case closed.
Yes.
P. Diddy with a couple of bottles of lotion.
Oof.
No, so yeah, it turns out that there was there was this minute, and just after 11, here it is here. So I'll read it from the CBS News article, guys. This isn't from the New York Post or whatever. This is breaking news as of this morning. Just after 11:59 p.m., a man believed to be the material handler walks away from the guard desk and walks off screen in the direction of the main entrance of the special housing unit. That figure is likely finishing his shift and heading home. While he does pass in front of the stairs leading to Epstein's tier, he does not appear to be approaching the cells where Epstein resided, but instead seemed to be heading out. So does this lead to more questions? Does it lead to, okay, maybe this was a suicide? Why the editing?
Yeah. So there's like a lot of questions still remaining. And if I'm pushing Trump's government to answer anything about it, it's all of those questions, right? We covered it in another one. There's parts of the video where somebody is carrying something orange or they're wearing an orange jumpsuit and you're just catching the side of them as they go up the stairs to the shoe. And we never see that person come back. And at first they were like, oh, that's not anybody. And then they were like, oh, it was a guard. And then eventually they were like, no, it actually was Jeffrey Epstein coming back from something. And it's like hours after lockdown. So they're like, why was he out? And they don't have a good answer for that either. And then now you have this guard coming out of nowhere. And I'm going, oh, wait a minute. Is he sitting at the other end? Because from the like forensic layout that we've seen from the documents they've shown, there's like not a desk over there or a chair. Or why is he in this like weird corner where the camera can't see him? Like, I don't, and then he's leaving his shift at the end of the day. What am I missing here? So I think it raises more questions than it answers. Also, this video they released now is basically like shot with a 1991 Nokia phone. What are we, 4 frames a second?
I don't get it. I don't understand why it's different FPS than what we were originally shown.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many questions. I mean, how can we even be sure that this is the same day? I mean, at this point, can you really believe anything that is being put in front of us?
Well, so a couple more. That's a good point. But a couple more things to mention about this minute is that as compared to the previous releases of video, which we know have been altered, they have metadata that corroborates they went through After Effects or Visual Studio Pro. I don't remember which one of those video editing tools. This one is strangely missing all of its metadata. It's neither raw nor does it have anything associated with it saying how it was, encoded or embedded or what dates or anything, which is strange. So people are like, is this edited? What is this? And then the file size and the frame rate is all very strange. I will give a teensy little nugget of maybe this is just incompetence, because they tried. Trump and Bondi and them really tried the approach of, we're not going to talk about Epstein anymore, and that has not been working for them.
No.
And so I think it could be that they were like, this is all we have, and we need to save some kind of face. And so they put out this thing that's not going to answer anybody's questions about anything, but it's like a good faith offering, even though it's so like terrible. Like, as evidence, this is just not good.
No. And we'll note that yesterday, survivors were outside Capitol Hill pushing for supporting the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Alongside, it was like a bipartisan kind of gathering.
They had Marjorie Taylor Greene there in support.
Listen,
I'm like, she's the craziest of the crazies, but I mean, she loves Daddy. She's not going to step against Daddy.
She's a humongous dirtbag. She's a huge piece of shit, but she has been surprisingly on the side of just show us what's in the Epstein files. I don't know if there's a part of her that feels like the walls are, I hate to be that, I don't want to say the walls are closing in. I hate that. But it feels like, the day of reckoning is going to come for Trump, and at least she can point to saving her political career by saying, hey, I wanted to see what was in those files. I don't know if that'll work for her, or I don't know if she really is like of the Dan Bongino kind of like, no, this is actually really important to me.
I don't know. I think that the problem with conspiracy theorists is that they're not going to be happy with anything, right? Because if you completely, show them the unredacted version of this Epstein files that exists somewhere, probably, they're still going to believe whatever they believe, even if this unredacted thing is like he committed suicide in the whatever holding cell in the shoe. Then they're not going to be pleased with that answer.
Right.
So I don't know. I do think that Dan Bongino, he got the message though. He got the message from high up that he needs to stop talking about it.
It seems like it, though. I'd like to, this news was just released this morning, maybe an hour before we went live or so. I'm really interested to see. Hey, remember when Dan Bongino, you said that this was a raw, unedited, released footage? Now suddenly it's not. Well, I want to know more.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's the problem with grifters, right? You put them into these positions of power where they're not used to being so scrupulously checked. Like they say if you're on a podcast, say, and you're a right-wing conspiracy nut, you say your conspiracy to get your views, get your money,
right?
And you don't ever have to like be pushed to answer anybody's questions. Somebody could poke a hole in it. You're never going to have to answer to that, right? You just block that commenter and you move on with your podcast. You keep the grift going. But when you're in a position of public policy making, you're an official for the government. They're just going to keep asking the question until you give them an answer. And if that answer is, look, I was just doing it for the money, I don't really know what's happening here, then you're going to lose all your followers. And you're right, there's probably a day that will exist post Trump where you have to go back to your podcast and you need those views.
Right. So what's next for the Epstein Files Transparency Act is there's going to be a vote early October. And good. Let's see Republicans, because it has support from all 212 House Democrats. So if there are House Republicans that want to see this passed, it only needs 6.
Yeah.
So
are there 6 courageous Republicans, or maybe end of term Republicans who want to just rock the boat a little?
I would love it.
That'd be great.
But what does that mean? If you're the only 6, you're dead. you're dead. So I imagine that's the Republicans have plenty of time to make sure there aren't enough votes for this. Promises will be made, backroom deals will be made.
Sure, but I mean, if you're MTG and you're shouting "release the Epstein files" and you're at these rallies,
and you vote no on this,
you vote no, then nothing matters.
Right. Okay. What else we got, Mike, for the people? Let's take
you want to finish here on the tariffs?
Oh, I would love to finish on the tariffs.
That's not. I didn't.
Wait, is that is wording still a thing? Is phrasing a thing?
Phrasing.
All right. Tell me about this whiskey. Tell me.
So there are some tariffs.
Okay.
And some pretty shocking retaliatory tariffs.
Okay.
It turns out that Jack Daniels is a huge exporter to Canada. Right. Canada can't get enough of Jack Daniels.
Okay.
Tariffs go into place. Jack Daniels sales to Canada drop 62%.
Wow.
I mean, that's a huge source of your revenue just going down the tubes right there.
No, but I'm sorry. I thought the tariffs were supposed to help American companies. So
in the case of Jack, let's say that you're making that argument.
Okay.
For the case of Jack Daniels, an American company. Tariffs only help you insofar as it raises the price on imported competition. So if there's some, Jack Daniels knockoff from China that people are starting to really like, and it comes in at half as cheap as Jack Daniels, well, sure, you'd love tariffs because then that raises the price of the cheap version to be the same as traditional Jack Daniels. So people will buy the brand name. But that only works if there aren't reciprocal tariffs and you're not a huge export.
Oh, shoot.
Jack Daniels exports a lot of their products to other countries, including Canada, who are big. One of the, it's like Americans who buy Canadian whiskey. I'm sure Canadians buy American whiskey because it's, American and neat somehow.
Right.
And so Canada put up, reciprocal tariffs against the United States, and Jack Daniels is now paying the price for that because they're not able to sell. They still have to pay the tariffs to export there, and they're just not selling. Amazing.
So they don't have to pay the tariffs to export, but the companies who are taking in Jack Daniels, like Canada, they would have to pay
They would have to
the
pay, and
reciprocal
they're just
tariff,
not
and they're
buying
not buying
anymore.
it, right? And so they decided not to. And on the same side, Jack Daniels is probably the cost of producing is probably higher because who knows where they get their bottles, where they get their label, where
Right.
they get all of that stuff. So it's probably already costing them more to produce things. It seems like these tariffs are a complete disaster.
They're the main thing, and we called this, I mean, all economists have said this. We're not economists, but anybody paying attention and looking at the past has said tariffs are only going to cost, they're a tax on Americans.
Right.
That's all they are. And, at the outset, Trump and his team were, first, 60 days or something, we're like, yay, tariffs are great. And it's not impacting, Americans, and it's awesome. Everybody's winning. Okay, they're starting to impact Americans. People are finally starting to see what tariffs are doing. And even in other countries, where they're not showing, like Canada again. I remember we ran that article in the podcast, was they put signs on their shelves where they're like, not carrying this because of tariffs. Like it's like where the Jack Daniels would be on that store shelf has a sign that says unavailable due because of American tariffs. And people are becoming more and more aware.
As and I'm reading this from Yale, from the Federal Reserve, from other places, that tariffs are one of the biggest, effectively, taxes on the American consumer. So far in 2025, it looks like it is translated to an average loss of $3,800 in purchasing power per household, with lower income households facing a larger relative loss.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Your taxes just went up $4,000, people.
Yeah.
And that's for the first 3 quarters of the year.
I mean, this is so far a nightmare. And
again, and this is why, okay, I hate to go and jump tracks a little bit here, but you and I unfortunately know a lot of libertarians, and one of their biggest things that they love to talk about are doing away with income tax entirely and replacing it for a flat tax, which is effectively what this does, right? I mean, it's not replacing income tax, but it's ostensibly a flat tax on goods and services, or goods, excuse me.
But it's an additional flat tax. It's not.
But it's an additional tax. Yeah. So, but if we were to do something like that, it's the same end scenario. It always impacts the people with less money harder than those with, because we buy, the difference between a rich person and a poor person, they buy roughly the same number of groceries every week. They buy the same amount. You know what I'm saying? Like they buy the same amount of clothes by and large just to get by on their normal day to day. So they all buy roughly the same amount of stuff, and the poor people end up paying the same taxes as the rich people. Whereas the rich people, well, they're rich. They should be paying more taxes.
Right. I mean, I don't want to dive too far into that argument, because I can kind of understand a flat tax or even a flat income tax if it went all the way up. The problem is we're allowing people at the top so many loopholes that they just don't pay the taxes. Don't even matter. I mean, they're either not paying them or whatever. So I can see the idea of a flat tax potentially working if it meant that if you're spending $20 million a year because you're rich, you're actually paying the taxes on the goods and services that you're purchasing. But the other problem is those people aren't spending the way that people think they're spending. They're hoarding.
Right. Elon Musk isn't spending money the way you think he is. He doesn't
he's borrowing.
He doesn't have 50. Well, I don't know how many billions of dollars he has now, but he doesn't have that in cash.
He borrows against
the stock he owns.
Exactly.
And he pays for it with capital gains from the stock he owns. So okay, he spent $100,000, on whatever. Right. And that means it actually cost him $120,000. Again, whatever. None of it is income. None of it's taxed. It's all played off as losses due to sales.
I would love to see a simpler tax code, but I would love to see one that is enforceable, is effective and enforceable, and means that The people who have gotten rich off the backs of the working class in this country actually pay their fair share to help lift up the people in the bottom.
Do you know there was a
don't.
guy?
Okay.
He was a president.
He was a president
of the United States.
Of these United States.
Of these United States,
okay.
In fact. And he proposed a unrealized capital gains tax for families with holdings over, I think it was 50 million, which would effectively tax the rich. Can you tell me what the name of this extremely progressive sounding president was?
I mean, I don't know. It was either FDR or Carter, though, is my guess. Neither?
It was Biden.
Oh, it was Biden.
Biden tried to push this through and he never got it to vote on. And
yeah.
It's because Democrats also voted it down. But that was one of his key points of one of his policies when he was in office. He tried to get capital gains taxed, some unrealized capital gains taxed somehow for these mega wealthy people. And he couldn't get it passed. I mean, it seems like a slam dunk to me.
Oh, his proposal included a 25% minimum tax on unrealized gains for individuals with $100 million or more in assets. I mean,
simple.
You would think that
that means like if you're one of these Elon Musk types and you're like, man, I really don't want to get taxed on my money, right?
Right.
Spend down to $100 million on these things that you own, and now you don't get taxed on it. What on earth are you going to do with $100 million anyway? How do you spend that?
There are approximately 900 billionaires living in the United States. So you feel like if you took this to a vote, they might be slightly outnumbered. How do they keep getting away with this?
Just to close the loop on the whole thing, Chuck Schumer is part of the problem, and his liberal class of elected officials, because they don't want to upset their donors. There's an established hierarchy of the billionaires. They give us money, and so we got to keep them happy first.
Right.
Then the corporations give us money, so we got to keep them happy second.
Seems correct.
And I don't know, like 40 or 50 rungs down there is like the voter has to be happy, and maybe not. I don't know.
I think that's you did a great job closing the loop there.
Thank you.
I think this is a great place to end it. We're approaching the hour mark of episode 50. Let's talk about some action items for you folks out there and for us at the Blue Sedition podcast. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create an endorsement section on the website. We're going to let you know who the candidates we think are worth looking into, donating to, supporting their campaigns, etc. And the only thing that we need from you is a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. It seems a little unbalanced, this ask, but if you can do that for us, we'll do those things for you. How's that sound? A little quid pro quo to end the stream today.
Yes, and I'll throw out there that if you like and subscribe in the next 24 hours, we will match your donation.
Oh, shoot. By our midnight deadline, folks, we will 5x match your $0 one like/subscribe donation to the podcast.
Love it.
We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.